There's accusations of prostitutes. There's accusations of him admitting and being involved with underage women. A lot of really abhorrent behavior. And even an email to Mica talking about apologizing for slashing her tires and posting a topless photo of her online. I it's understandable to think that if this is your spouse and they're doing these things to you, how one might at some point be driven to take their own life.
Yeah, whether law enforcement is able to prove culpability or not, that's another
Hmm.
question. I don't even know if it was investigated because it was a suicide. In other words, did they do anything to track his phone? Did they seize his phone? Did they look at the text messages? Have they reviewed all the emails? How about hers?
No.
To see if there was any of this. I don't think they did because it seems like they ruled it was a suicide straight away.
Hmm.
And uh, typically, when that happens, they're not going to be able to get subpoenas
Yeah.
or search warrant because they don't have probable cause to prove that the person was involved in the crime.
No. Yeah. And
But
yeah. And there's been plenty of time now to destroy any evidence. She had in her possession her computer and devices and such. And when she was admitted to a mental health facility, he went and got them all. Gave them to a lady named Diane. Put it all over there because he wanted to keep a better eye on her, allegedly. It's and scrubbed a lot of things too. So it's interesting the control that he seems to wanted to have over her. I know he's trying to portray it as he's just the innocent man that has a mentally ill wife, and you got to kind of keep her under check because otherwise she could be a danger to herself. He's saying, I was trying to get her the medicine so she doesn't kill herself, and I wasn't able to do that. Um, it's I'm just trying to objectively look at this because it's not an easy thing to be with someone who is mentally ill. It's certainly not easy to be mentally ill. But if you're the spouse of someone who is mentally ill and has delusions and such, that can be a roller coaster from hell as well. But it just doesn't feel like it's quite that. It doesn't quite seem like he's just this martyr and just this innocent individual, judging by the facts that we do know of his previous behavior.
right, I mean, the film. Have you seen the video from before this incident? Well, before this incident, where he is going berserk and having a complete mental breakdown. It's hard to watch,
Yeah.
uh, but it clearly shows to me uh, who was really mentally ill, perhaps, and who was uh, trying to be controlling, expressing and showing narcissistic type actions, and really just in such an abusive type role. In my opinion, that's what
Yeah.
I've seen. When you really add it all up, it doesn't add up to her being mentally ill. It adds up to him being an abuser.
Yeah, well, and he's admitted to it as well that he's had mental health problems, takes lithium and such, which is the drug that you take for bipolar. But again, it's a lot of she's mentally ill, and I had to do this. Here's one of his videos talking about answering questions online, which again I find this all very bizarre about why he preached the day after he found out his wife had died. Take a look.
Hey everyone, tonight we will deal with the fact that I preached the day after my wife passed and the announcement that I made. Before that, I just want to talk about the tattoo from the other night. The tattoo that have her signature, it was gotten back in January with her. She wanted a very, very thick wedding band tattooed on her wedding finger so that when she was working out or we were on vacation, when she didn't have a ring, she'd let everybody know she was still married. That is not something that someone who's being abused does. But
I want to pause that right there. That's not something that someone who's being abused does. Telling everybody right there that that's if you're being abused, you're not. Actually, it's kind of a sign that you might be being abused. That your partner really wants to make sure that everyone knows you are taken. So we're going to physically alter your body to make sure that that's well known. It just doesn't add.
Yeah,
You know what?
I agree, Tony. I totally agree.
It's so weird. Let's listen to more.
she wanted that tattoo and she wanted me to get her signature. So I showed up and did it. The reason I preached the day after she passed, the night before that midnight, I had 5 people at my house telling me not to preach and that I would be crazy for doing it. I didn't listen, and it's because at first I didn't believe it. I'd spent the past 3.5 months doing everything I could to keep her alive. My goal was every single day to find somebody, some way to get her medicine, because I told them that she was going to commit suicide if she didn't get her lithium. And I went to her pastors, counselors, doctors, policemen, judges, friends, family, roommates, everybody you could possibly think of, and nobody believed me. So to get that call that night that it happened, I'm sure you can imagine what a failure I felt like, as well as this just can't be true. It can't be my worst nightmare. There's no way. And so I thought maybe the family was playing a trick on me or something. The other side of it was, I thought if it is true, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do anything. I want to just keep living my life as if it never happened, because I was not ready to believe that it happened. So the next day I preached like a fool, and then I made my announcement for everybody to be quiet and leave, because like a moment of silence, like you do, in respect. I did it kind of like, I don't want anybody to be talking about, suicide or mental illness or asking me questions, or I just wanted them to leave and go talk to Jesus about it and then talk to me at some later date. I was not prepared to deal with any of it at all, and I'm sure you cannot imagine what it's like to be trying your best to keep somebody alive and then to find out they passed, and then how do you handle yourself in that next 24, 48 hours? I don't think there's a manual on that. So if it offends anybody, I apologize, but I did the best I could with what I had.
There's not a manual on it, but it sure as hell wasn't that.
Uh, I always say when these people start going out and talking, we've seen it in different cases, right? You shouldn't need a manual. Look at the Petitos,
Yeah.
the sincerity, the heartache, the pain, and many, many other parents and many other loved ones when they lose a loved one. There's nothing that that seems sincere about anything he has to say. In fact, I think I read the obituary, and in part of it, he said, "And leaves behind a great husband who's a great one of the best preachers around," or
Half
words
of
to
the
that
yeah,
effect. I thought, who writes that?
half of the obituary is about him. I have it here in one of these documents, and I've this is not it, but when I highlighted it the other day, it's in one of these piles here. It's halfway about him, about what a great preacher he is. Here's the obituary. Here's the highlighted parts. Those are the parts that are about him and praising him, which is so weird. And there's even like passive aggressive bragging about she loved her ice bath, nice car, sauna, house, etc. Just kind of getting that in, like, and just really showing I was giving her this great life. It's all wonderful. Everything's great here. Everything's super. Really, because she talks about abuse. She has even posted a pretty sane video with a lot more cohesive than his videos have been. Right before she passed, talking about abuse and getting help for it and recognizing it. Um, it's so weird. I mean, at the least, he's a narcissist that seems to be very opportunistic on the death of his wife because it gets a lot of attention towards him. At the worst, I don't know. I know there's an investigation that is continuing on in this, and I know the local authorities have asked the FBI for help. I believe, if I understand correctly, they're trying to look at some sort of interstate harassment that may have been going on, um, to put further resources into it. But there certainly is a lot of smoke here. I don't know, and I'm not saying he killed her by any means, but this certainly does require a little more looking into, I think.
Well, yeah, and I think financially and fiscally, he could be in trouble for what might have been going on at his church.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a nonprofit, and I think that there's some investigation going on in that vein, and that's going to be very important because charges like, if they come, tax
Yeah.
evasion, money laundering, they carry real teeth, Tony, and that's probably going to be the best opportunity if, in fact, he's committed these types of crimes and violations, that he actually has to pay the piper.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to continue watching. It's just it's one of those cases where it's hard to wrap your mind around. When I first started doing interviews on it yesterday, I didn't even know where to begin because there's just so many tentacles to this thing that are weird, and it just doesn't add up. And his behavior continues. He continues to post online and keeps saying, "Stay tuned," so you can see more of the evidence he's got. It's freaking weird,
Well,
but we'll keep
he's
an eye on it.
becoming one of the most unliked people in the true crime community. I think we could make him the poster boy for it at this point.
I agree. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.